Hi everyone, this is Ryo here with a review for HunterxHunter, or Hunter x Hunter as some people say. Hunter x Hunter is written by Yoshihiro Togashi sensei, also drawn by him. A very good manga, I have to admit. It's one of the top 5 mangas in Japan, and I have to admit it's definitely earned its stripes. Of course, some people may not have heard of it because it has been on and off really, because I'm not sure whether the artist has been ill or something, but he's been having a hiatus where he leaves it for a while. Sometimes he would actually publish only a few chapters per year. So I actually think it's because of his health. I've never actually checked why he's been on so many breaks. But there you go. Anyway, so the first thing you need to know about Hunter x Hunter is that in the Hunter x Hunter world, there are people called hunters who receive the title of hunter. And these people basically hunt, as in the discovery term, as in finding something. They basically hunt new or exotic or even rare creatures, going to even hidden or forgotten treasures, to discovering new or foreign or strange lands, and more stuff, of course. And these people are called hunters. So in volume 1 you find out this story revolves around a boy, as you see on the front cover, named Gon, who wants to become a hunter like his father, Gin. Gin, or Jin, some people say, became a hunter and actually left Gon while he was still young, I think as a baby, and went to become a hunter. Well, he was already a hunter, but you just go and do what hunter stuff, what hunters do. And Gon, rather than hating his father like normal people would for just abandoning him, he respects his father and finds that to become a hunter must be so great that you would abandon your son for it. So he wants to become a hunter to see how it is. So in order to do that, to become a hunter, you have to take a hunter exam. And Gin manages to persuade his guardian, which is his aunt, I can't remember her name, I think I can't remember anyway, convinces her to allow him to take the hunter exam, which is extremely dangerous. You could lose your life on it during the exam. So in this first volume you see him on his way to take the hunter exam. So he leaves his island to go to the mainland, and on the boat he meets 2 other people who passed the first stage, which they never realized was the first stage. The journey from the island to where the hunter exam was meant to be is an exam in itself. So all these applicants who were on the boat as well failed because they couldn't survive the trip, because they were all either seasick or they couldn't survive the journey. So so the captain thought they were unfit to enter the hunter exam. So only 3 people passed, and they became friends. So Gon passed, another one called Kurapika, and Leorio, I can't pronounce the name, sorry. So we find out why they want to become hunters. As I said before, Gon wants to become a hunter to see what it is because his father is a hunter. Whereas Kurapika wants to become a blacklist hunter, which basically hunts criminals who avoid or escape the local authorities. And he wants to become a blacklist hunter to avenge his clan, which were massacred by, I think, an A-class or an S-class group of criminals. Yeah, so that's quite deep in itself, so that's why he wants to become a hunter. Whereas the other guy, Leorio, I never pronounce his name. Anyway, he wants to become a hunter for money, which we found later in the story, not in this volume, but he wants the money in order to fund his education to become a doctor. But in Volume 1 you just find out he wants money, so we all think he's just, you know, money hungry. He just wants loads of money and spend his life in ease. But we find out later he wants to become a hunter for the money, to become a doctor in itself. So so that's why. But most people think, why do you want to become a hunter? Right? It's like Gong doesn't know anything about hunters, and he just knows that his father's a hunter. He wants to become a hunter and needs to pass the exam to become a hunter. But he doesn't know how dangerous it is. He doesn't know what hunters really are. But how should I say this? What advantages you have as being a hunter. For example, if you become a hunter, you have access to a large sums of money, like Leorio wants. Also, they have access to information that are not normally public knowledge, and also have access or allowed entry into countries or places that are not normally allowed or open to the public. So yeah, let's go through Volume 1. So Volume 1 is the beginning, like I said, obviously, it's Volume 1. So here it talks about, like I told you before, what hunters do and what do they hunt or discover. Gong here. That's his aunt, and that's Ging or Jin. Leorio and Kurapika. So during the hunter exam, Gong actually meets another person who actually becomes his best friend later on, and his name is Killua. Killua is actually taking the exam just to pass the time, as he's bored and he thinks it's quite easy doing the hunter exam. We find out that he is an assassin, or his whole family in fact are a bunch of assassins, and that's why he finds it so easy, as you see later on. Oh, here he is, Killua and Gong. So yes, Killua and Gong are the main characters really in this manga, as you see them throughout every arc, in fact. Whereas, what's the name? Oh yeah, Kurapika and Leorio, they only show up in a couple arcs. Maybe in a new arc we might see them, but so far we haven't seen them. So yeah, that's Volume 1. After Volume 1, the story continues with the hunter exam, as I said, and it ends up with Gong actually becoming a hunter. So after this arc, the hunter exam arc, Gong and Killua, they travel to this place called Heaven's Arena. That's when I read it. I think sometimes some people call it Fight Tower or something like that. So this is basically like a tower, and each level of the tower you fight, and if you're too strong for that level, you go up to the next level, and up to the next level, and up to the next level. The highest level is, if I remember well, the 200th level in the tower, and both Gong and Killua actually make it to that tower, but they're not able to actually access the tower because it's only for people who know the art of Nen. So both Killua and Gong go back down, and they are trained in the art of Nen by a trainer. I can't remember his name, but they're both trained in Nen, and they manage to go finally to the 200th floor, and they start fighting and using their Nen, and they do become quite strong. So this whole arc, that whole arc was about the learning what Nen is and how to use it. After this arc, Gong and Killua go back to Gong's home island called Whale Island, and they find out that Gin or Jin, Gong's father, left something for Gong if he ever managed or ever wanted to become a hunter. And his aunt gives it to him, if I remember, and it's a weird box. They don't know how to open it. They tried to open it with force and they can't. And they think both Gong and Killua thought maybe it's only for those people who could use Nen, because in order to actually become a proper hunter, you must know the art of Nen. So they use Nen and they open the box and they find a clue about Gin, or maybe his whereabouts. And it's something called Greed Island. It's a game. Apparently Gin invented or helped create the game. So Gong and Killua leave the island to go investigate Greed Island and find out that what Greed Island is and all that. So in order to do that, they went to a city, and in this city they had to go to an auction to actually buy another game. I think it was the game for the console. And so they were going to go to this auction in town. So in this city, we also find out Kurapika is there, and he's a bodyguard now. And he became a bodyguard in order to avenge his clan, because he chose a client that would most likely be targeted by these criminals that massacred his clan. So a series of events happens where Kurapika, in sort of a way, avenges his clan. Not entirely. He doesn't exactly kill them all. Something weird happens. It's all Nen related and it's a bit complicated to explain. But after this, Gong and Killua find a way to actually play Greed Island, and they find out that when you play Greed Island, you're sucked into the game and you play in the game. And this is what happens. They go and they get sucked into the game and they play Greed Island. Later they find out that Greed Island is actually in the real world, but no one can get to it because it's, I don't know, shielded or something by Nen. And the people who live in Nen are all projected by Nen people, Nen ability users that also live on the island, the creators of the game. So during that arc, Gong and Killua become stronger. They get another teacher. I can't remember her name. Maybe Cindy, I think her name was. And she teaches them to become very strong, how to use their Nen ability much more efficiently and accurately, and how to improve and power up. After this arc, towards the end, they find a way to find Gin in the real world. Well, they are in the real world, but to find Gin. So they use that, but instead of finding Gin or Jin, they find a friend of his that you meet in Volume 1. It's actually Gin's apprentice or disciple or something like that. And in Volume 1, you actually see him saving Gong. So they find him, and that's where the next arc starts.